Shostakovich.
Well, because Mars was like the god of war, right?
Yeah.
Of the planets.
God of war!
Well, shit. Why isn't that? Never mind. Well, we're recording this, but it's probably not very funny.
Oh, we're recording?
I just turned it on.
Sorry, I'm a
that's
little
cool.
like, whoa.
I am
Just got
too,
off
so
work,
this might be a
so-
rough one. I'm a little...
You guys aren't bringing the energy?
I'm trying.
It's
just a
hard. We
weird
just
day.
recorded like 3 days ago, you know?
That doesn't exhaust anyone.
You can
Yeah, I think...
You gotta fill up with
You're
juice.
obviously not, bringing it every time.
Can't bring the heat.
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay, doesn't have to be heated all
you
the
guys
time.
don't want you don't want me to be the one that brings the energy.
Bring the
It's
energy,
just
bro.
gonna- It's just gonna be a.
You're the energy generator. You're the energy generator.
I'm
You're the rabbit on the wheel, but like
a rabbit on a wheel, hamster on a wheel,
No, rabbits.
rabbits on wheels.
A rabbit on
That'd probably go way faster.
A rabbit
than
on a
hamster.
conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A conveyor belt.
No, like
doesn't
a
produce-
treadmill. We're talking like a
Treadmill, there you
treadmill.
go, treadmill.
Like some Jamiroquai shit.
Ah.
Jamiroquai. That's a cool...
Oh, speaking of which,
You know what I'm talking about?
I know this isn't the movie we were supposed to watch, but I did watch a movie recently
Cool.
that both of you talked about at some point, or maybe
Okay.
you didn't.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of White God?
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of
You've
it.
heard of it? You've heard of it?
But I think I've seen the poster.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Is
what
that
it's about.
recent?
It's a strange. Yes, it was last year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it was a Hungarian movie, and it started off pretty cool.
Oh, it's on Netflix. It's something about dogs, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Oh.
It got really fucking weird. At the
I've
end.
been interested in that.
I don't know how I feel about it still.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hair plug.
Hair plug. Beep boop.
White God.
White
Cool.
God.
I haven't seen that on there.
It's it's
It
on
came.
there.
I think it came out recommended for me actually.
Speaking of Netflix, I think you picked this movie right like a week after it was taken off Netflix because I swear it was on my feed.
Yeah.
It's the Hair Club for Netflix.
I found it pretty easy.
I did too.
Hair Club
I didn't pay
for
for
movies.
Spoiler alert.
You mean you got it from the library?
Yeah.
Movies.
Exactly.
Because it's Hair Club for movies.
I love that this podcast says support your libraries, not support your local theater or like movie store.
Well,
We're
so
always
I've said
support.
local theaters and your local.
We have?
video store.
But if
Yeah.
you
I feel like we say support your libraries
library.
more.
What's wrong with libraries?
No, it's
Libraries
just-
are
it's-
one of the most important.
That's something a book club would
Places.
say, not a movie club.
Well, hey, we are not.
This is not the book club.
This
for
is the
movies.
hair club for. This is the book club.
This
for
is
movies.
the book club for movies.
We're very confused.
We should change our name. The book club for movies.
The book club for movies. That's a better name.
My name's Drew.
I'm Andrew.
My name is Michael.
Who picked
and
this movie?
week,
Who did pick this?
Drew
movie?
picked The One I Love
The one I love.
The one I love.
from 2000 something.
14, I
14.
think.
I'm just gonna go ahead and
From
say it. I love this movie.
really?
I
I
too.
fucking love it.
Really?
I was really surprised.
I was
Oh,
so
wow.
happy when it.
I
There was a point in
honestly-
the movie where I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a good movie."
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
I really expected you, Andrew, to not like this
Really?
movie. I
Wait,
don't know why.
did you see this movie before?
Yeah.
You picked it? Okay.
Yeah. When I saw it first, I was like, "This fucking movie."
Yeah, yeah.
It's cool.
Good.
It's
Cool.
actually one
Awesome.
of, like, in terms of, okay, I'm just gonna, my first note is Mark Duplass is in every hipster love story. That's what I wrote before this movie unfolded.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that's not untrue because
Well,
the
yeah.
Duplass brothers kind of invented the mumblecore thing, like
Yeah.
in Lena Dunham.
Yeah.
You know, that
Were they involved with Lena Dunham?
I think they all kind of were
Like from the
doing
same
stuff.
scene or
yeah.
something?
Because actually, fun fact: the reason she's in my mind right now is because she is one of the thanks at the end of the movie, at the end of the credits. Special thanks to she's one of the.
Oh, really? I didn't
I think
they.
I think the Duplass brothers. I don't know if they're from New York or what,
Uh-huh.
but I'm sure that whole mumblecore scene. That's a small mumblecore, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
explain mumblecore to
I
us.
think it just
Mumblecore.
means like mostly it's unscripted, mostly, right? And it's supposed to mimic like real dialogue,
Yeah.
quote unquote. So
With, like,
that's why when
standoffish attitudes and shit.
yeah, like it's supposed to I don't know really actually the exact definition of mumblecore. I just know
But you know when you see
a
it.
cornerstone of it is
Mark Duplass.
Mostly it's a Mark Duplass. Yeah, one of the Duplass brothers.
Yeah.
And unscripted dialogue, I think.
I would say unscripted stuff's been around for a while in like sitcoms.
Yeah.
They call it retro scripting, where they do something like they said about this film. There was only 40 pages for the whole script.
Really?
And it was really just like scene direction and what needs
to
like what needs to occur in each scene, like
okay.
what part of the plot needs to be revealed.
Yeah.
And like Curb Your Enthusiasm and one of my favorite lesser known animated show, Home Movies.
You're right.
Yes,
they're one of my favorite animated shows.
And they're just like comedians pretty much going in and riffing. Sort of like kind of like a podcast.
Yeah, if you will.
Well, yeah,
I mean, Home Movies has been one of my favorite shows since I was
a
kid.
I guess if you're an actor, it's probably like, and if you've been like a taught actor, if you went to a school for it or something like that, or in a theater group, you do improvise. You try and improvise scenes because that's like practice for, any situation. But I can't imagine. I guess this movie all of it felt natural. Like,
that's the thing is I feel like
really cool.
you're pulling from real life. You have no other. You can create instincts, as an actor, but I feel like the whole point is like these kind of movies are all relationship based.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And that allows people. Everybody's been in a relationship. Even if you've never had a girlfriend or something. You've had a relationship with a person. You know what I mean? It's human. It's human interactions, and that's really all that it is. That's all this movie is. There's fucking two people in this movie.
Yeah.
Ted Danson.
I love that.
Yeah.
Ted Danson.
And it's like the fact that this movie can be this like kind of fucked up and like a sci-fi movie, and all you need is a house and two people.
Yeah.
Like that's
it was
fucking
pretty
independent.
I was just about to say like this is probably the most interesting movie I've seen done with like it's only two people in the movie.
Yeah,
and
like talk
really
about
just like one set.
Yeah.
Which
most times those are boring movies.
The set. Yeah. Well, think about this though. Moon. Not fucking boring.
Well, I know, but I'm just there are movies not.
Yeah, and The Martian, which I assume is awesome, but I still.
Well, that had a lot of actors in it. It's just every once in a while it would cut back to the one guy.
But the house that they stayed in was Ted Danson and whatever his wife.
That's Ted Danson's actual house.
Mary Steenburgen. Yeah,
that's awesome. He lives in a sweet house.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, of course he does.
It's fucking Ted Danson.
It's
that
funny
Cheers money, son.
I've actually been trying to watch all of Cheers. I'm on season 9 now, and I've watched every single episode.
When you're done, you should go to Boston and go to Cheers.
I've actually done that already.
Oh, fuck you. Thought I was going to give you
go to Cheers.
There is a bar that is like modeled after Cheers, where you actually go underneath and there's like...
And everybody knows your name there, too. It's weird.
That's impossible.
Actually, no one knows your name.
Yeah.
It's just a big tourist attraction.
Yeah, I'm sure. There was a...
Listen, I tried to make a joke about the song.
I don't like your jokes.
I am the joke master.
I am the joke.
I am the joke. I am the joke.
My second note was Mark Duplass is a boring Chevy Chase.
Holy shit!
Did you write that too?
No, that's crazy that you said that because my first note is Ted Danson / Chevy Chase. Because I feel like Ted Danson is the better version of Chevy Chase.
The better version?
What do you guys have against Chevy Chase?
He ruined Community for me.
I know, and I know he's an asshole.
Oh, yeah?
And I know he's been an asshole since forever. He and Bill Murray, notoriously got into a fight on Saturday Night Live, and Bill Murray called him medium talent. Ooh. Which is such a fucking
Yeah,
that's a pretty low
That's
blow.
the worst thing you can call someone.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even shitty.
You're
fine.
You're
fine.
It's like you'll be in movies, but you're not as good as
actually, and that's, I don't know, I think Chevy Chase is fine, but that actually came out to be real.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at Bill Murray and Chevy Chase's career.
No.
We were talking about musicians and, people getting better. Bill Murray's, always been good. Now he just has more freedom.
He's certainly peaked. I think we're in the lull of Bill Murray.
Well, it's almost like
he's been doing a lot more movies, and they're all... I watched that fucking Rock the Casbah, and we couldn't even finish it because it sucks.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a rock tour manager, and Zooey Deschanel is his, they're going...
She's another mumblecore actor.
No.
Yeah.
She's not anything mumblecore, dude, probably. She was doing stuff before, all this thing came out. She's a new girl now.
Well, maybe she's... I don't know. She's in that range.
But if that shit started...
I think I'm actually with... I mean, that's like the sort of humor that I picture when I think of like New Girl.
I'm saying she could definitely be in it, but she's not a part of that.
Well, she's not a part of the Duplass.
But what was the... I got sidetracked.
We're talking about Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, okay.
A few
Rock the
bad
Casbah, Brock, Zooey Deschanel, sucked, stopped it.
Yeah.
But, Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
I was reading this book and I let you borrow it. It's called I Wear the Black Hats, Chuck Klosterman, and there's a chapter about something, I don't remember what it's about, like, analyzing villains and how Chevy Chase is a villain, and I read a chapter basically about that too, so, and already, Dan Harmon's relationship.
I need to get to that chapter.
I was actually, Dan Harmon.
Because Dan Harmon fucking hated the shit out of
played the fucking voicemail.
Dan Harmon's my boy.
Oh, yeah.
I like
straight up
almost no one more than Dan Harmon.
Really?
What he's created.
He is absolutely number 3 on my hero list, probably.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Think about he loves nerdy stuff, and he does a podcast. He likes Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
Oh, shit, yeah. He's a triple threat for you.
Oh, man.
It's just the fact of, he doesn't give a fuck.
Self-destructive? Man.
Yeah. Have you seen Harmontown? Have you seen the documentary, Harmontown?
No.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's really
watch
good.
that immediately.
Okay,
I've watched it twice because it's so inspiring.
The part about the Dungeon Master.
Yes.
So while they were on the road doing podcasts, they had a guy that was a fan and had been to multiple podcast recordings.
Yeah.
That was... like the most stereotypical 30-year-old dungeon master.
Neckbeard.
Yeah, like he lived with his mom still.
Oh, man.
And they invited him to go on the road with them and be a DM on their podcast.
But the craziest
they
part
changed their life.
Is the fact that he went to a live recording just like, you know what, I think they should play Dungeons and Dragons, and they need a DM.
Yeah, and I'm just going to do it.
And he's just going to do it. He didn't know that night, like randomly, they were like, let's play Dungeons and Dragons. Anybody here a Dungeon Master or whatever?
And he's like, ah!
And now he just happened to. It just worked, and then they took him. It's crazy. And now he acts in some of these. Dan Harmon does these shorts off for the History Channel.
Yeah, I think he even was in Community. Like
he was in Community. He was on. Might have been the Dungeons and Dragons episode. He was in one of them.
That was a good episode.
Well, there's 2.
There was 2?
There's 2 Dungeons and Dragons episodes.
I could have sworn there was...
No,
there's the first one, and then there's...
I guess I only saw the first one then. Yeah. I did trail off Community when it kept getting canceled and
it's all worth it. It's all worth it. Even the one season that Dan Harmon's not on.
Okay. All right.
Which is whatever. But it's great. Anyway, fucking where are we going?
Marriages need friends.
The one...
Just 2 people. That was one of my first quotes of the movie. Marriages need friends. Just 2 people suck.
Well, I think a good relationship you need to be okay with just that one other person.
You need to be okay with them, but the way this movie made it look like these two, it made it look like they didn't.
It looks
have
like these
friends.
2 suck. Like these 2 are not good people.
Well, with
not bad people,
with each other.
But just saying that,
what happens in this movie?
Let's give a summation.
Yeah.
So starts out with a couple in couples therapy with Ted Danson, the therapist, and nothing's working. Blah blah blah. He cheated on her. You find that out later, but that's why they're in counseling.
And she can't forgive him.
Can't forgive him. Yeah. And then they decide to go on this couples retreat. Well, their therapist says they should go on this couples retreat, which is to this getaway house, whatever. People, and then they look on it. They get there.
Pretty secluded.
Secluded.
Kind of like Dogtooth.
Yeah. They get there, and there's an iPad with all these happy couples, like, we're getting engaged, like, we're so happy now, it works, whatever. And then they get there, and then there's a guest house. What's in the guest house? Who knows? And then, guess what? It's these weirdo clones of themselves.
Yeah, so, when the husband, Ethan, steps into the guest house, it appears that his wife, Sophie, is that her name?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sophie is there, but it's actually a double of Sophie.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, and then when Sophie goes in, there's a double of Ethan, like a mirror image.
But like a better version of themselves, the version that each of them will idealize themselves.
There's some and then if the other one's there, they're not there.
They can't both be in the house at once until.
But then they can, and then at first they can't go outside.
But then they gain power.
Then they can.
It doesn't make sense, but I kind of like that.
It's
the way
ambiguous.
They approach it, it's ambiguous. They don't try to make it make sense. They just leave out details.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I agree. It's not even soft.
Because the premise is so
sci-fi.
It's like that pseudoscience. Sometimes if you explain it, it's like,
this is
shit. Like midichlorians. Like, you know, you don't need to say it.
Don't try to explain
is.
it.
Don't find a reason.
You just live in this universe
exists.
where this is possible.
Yeah,
exactly.
hint at it. Maybe, like, you know, show a bit of the edges of the details.
They did.
But don't, like...
They did. When, like, Ethan gets on the computer and he starts going through, like, voice recordings.
Oh, that was really
cool.
creepy, but very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just was enough for you to be like, however it happened, they changed
They're
these
like projections or robots, but they, like, they're something.
Yeah.
There's some living entity now. And
Yeah.
Actually, the term aberration is used, and speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, it's a commonly used term in D&D. So the definition is kind of cool. Aberration is a noun meaning a departure from what is normal, usual, or expected. Ooh. Typically, one that is unwelcome. So often it's used in like the media to describe if there is violence in a nice area of town. They call it an aberration. Like this is outside the statistical norm.
Right.
I see, yeah.
And these things, they're just... there's this one part where the evil Ethan has this aardvark analogy.
Yeah.
Which I like. It seems kind of interesting, but I think it's kind of bullshit. Like, you're trying to explain an aberration in nature with this stupid thing about an aardvark trying to explain, like, light in a dark room.
He was
like, this is unnatural and scary. These people have a right to be upset and, like, ask questions, you know?
It's true.
Well, I wrote that down, too, because I kind of interpreted it a little differently, because he said, well, Ethan was like, oh, I'm not an aardvark. And then bad Ethan was like, well, I'm not a gorilla.
Yeah.
Implying
because he
that
started off with...
he's not an ape, meaning he's not human.
Oh. Well, no.
Maybe that's not
towards
implied.
No, I like that.
But I felt like that was like a cut. Like, he was like, well, I'm not a fucking gorilla.
Towards the end...
You're a fucking human and I'm not.
Yeah. It was pretty clear that the couple, Nega Ethan and Nega Sophie...
that's the good way to put it,
that they were there as the... like a couple who was trying to fix their marriage before.
Yeah.
And if they explained that, like, Nega Sophie explains to real Ethan, like, once they're sort of, like, on the same page, and Nega Sophie's like, yeah, I get, like, this isn't, you're right about this, blah, blah, blah. We came here the same way you came here to, like, try and fix our marriage, and we're supposed to pit you against each other, and you're supposed to fix it, and then we get to leave, and then you have to stay and then do the same to, like, someone else.
Yeah. Oh, so it's like the people are getting transformed.
Yes, exactly. The two couples that go there take the place of the couple that's already there.
Even thought about,
but it's even more like mysterious.
It is. It's still mysterious.
What sort of force?
It's still mysterious. Like, obviously, the mystical powers are just like, who knows? But the point of the story is what matters.
Okay, so and cut to the end, which is a little ambiguous. And you kind of aren't sure.
I thought it was great.
I thought that was the best. And I
think it was unambiguous.
Argument.
I know what.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's just like, it doesn't spell it out for you. But here it is. And then that last shot's like,
it was so
there's
good.
So much in it.
And just.
And I want to go back to what I was saying really about how I didn't like Goodnight Mommy, because it hinged on the ending, twist ending, right? Yeah. This is an example. I kind of picked this movie not thinking of how many similarities there are to Goodnight Mommy, and how this is a good example to me.
Like they're all trapped in a secluded house.
Yeah. Well, but then the twisty thing, you know, like this is a good example of a twist to me. Like there is stuff planted in throughout the movie that it allows you for almost
you're right about
almost
that.
Wordless shot. Like you hear her say the bacon and eggs shit, but it's just a shot on him, and there's so much in his fucking expressions, and so much in his reaction. Like he's like, okay, like, fuck it, there's nothing I can do. Like this is my life now.
Or maybe he even likes it better.
When he really or he likes it. He kind of like, oh, this is tight. Like I can,
you know,
that's great.
She's
because
happy,
honestly,
and I'm happy,
not Elizabeth Moss did a really good job playing both parts. But and I understand, like, she was wronged, but her actions, like knowingly sleeping with her husband's double, are wrong as well. Yeah. Like she was wrong, but wouldn't admit it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh
you know, like the husband knew he had made a mistake. He was still wrong.
And also, she was the reason they didn't leave.
Yeah, like I really think like her decisions are horribly flawed.
Yeah.
Like,
well, even from the jump, like he was willing to like admit that he was wrong and like, you know, go on this thing because he wanted to try to save the marriage.
Yeah.
And then she went there, and as soon as she found something else, she was like, fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, this is the ideal version of my husband, and I can leave my actual husband to like stew and just get angry and upset. Like,
well, it was also clear that like Ethan would go there for maybe like 5 minutes and just be like,
and the whole time he was just analyzing it.
Yeah, he's trying to figure things out,
and then he would leave
there,
and then she would go there and completely forget that it's like that she's supposed to do anything. She'd just stay there and like have fun and shit, and then leave and then lie to him about like what she did. It was so interesting because like I have a line in here.
I'm honestly shocked that you both liked it. First of all,
I love
that
this
you,
movie.
Andrew, loved it.
I'm struggling with the fact that you slept with the other me. I love that line. This was before, like, this was when they were on their way back, like after eating at the diner and talking about like what they just saw. It's weird that in this movie it's like an honest feeling. It's like you can't sleep with the other me, even though it technically is me, not technically cheating on me, because they don't know what it is yet. They don't know it's just two other people. Yeah, they think it's some weird trick, probably.
Yeah, I would have pictured like an advanced hologram.
Exactly, or just some. Or like you're tripping balls and you just think it's going on. Yeah. It was really cool. Another thing I loved about this movie was, and this is the moment I liked it. This is the moment I was like, this is gonna be a good movie. Is when at the beginning when I realized there was something wrong. And he was like, I didn't just have sex with you. And she's like, and they go to bed angry. I was like, oh, fuck. This better not be the whole movie where they're just confused the whole time about, like, there is a different person.
I love it.
They jumped right into it.
That's my favorite part about this. It's like those self-aware zombie movies. Like, we know we're zombies. We know they gotta get shot in the head. Like, it's like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this, like, it cuts that part out of the plot. Like, we're telling a different story.
Trimming the fat.
Exactly.
Like, this is...
Because there's more to it than just that element, you know?
We didn't spend a frustrating 30 or 60 minutes for our characters finding out what was wrong.
Yes.
That's what I loved. We found out... And more interesting shit happened because they found out what was
actually, when they finally meet the nega versions of themselves, and they're all sitting there, like, having wine and dinner and playing poker, those are some of the most stressful, like, interesting scenes. Yeah. My favorite line... when the real Ethan tries to bluff against the nega Ethan. Oh, yeah. And he calls his bluff, and he says, the guy who has nothing and he knows it. It sums up the way the real Ethan actually feels. He realizes he's lost his wife to the evil version of himself, and he has nothing left anymore. Yeah. And he's trying to bluff, but he can't do it.
That's kind of why I love how the movie ended in a way, because...
Honestly, they might be happier.
I was about to say, like, it's kind of twisted to think that you could leave your wife for someone who's like your wife. Yeah. But she did the same to him already. Yeah. And the woman that looks like Sophie that he's now with is a little bit more just like the whole, like, after she was trying to not impress the real Ethan anymore, after she was sort of just being like nihilistic and like mean to his real wife. Yeah. He's just that way, and it just made sense that they were going to be together. Like, they were just sort of more practical and less like, young flirty. Yeah. Like, they were like an old married couple. But, like, they were happy. Mm-hmm. And there's not, like, a scene where they're fighting, but it just looked like they were both on the same, like, in the same sort of, like, nihilistic mindset.
You talking about with the real Sophie and nega Ethan? Or
No. Real Ethan, nega Sophie were both sort of like, at least nega Sophie, like, at
she was the first one, like,
was starting to like display that she might have been the troubled one in the other relationship.
She was like the Finn of this movie. She was like the clone that decided he didn't want to do this anymore. Oh, look at that Star Wars reference.
Whoa,
see what I did
there? Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, though.
People criticize Finn's character as not being that well-rounded a character, but I like him.
People who criticize the new Star Wars are retarded.
I did. There was...
he was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
I have heard people... There's a...
here we go.
There's a subreddit called Fixing Movies, I think. It's actually really... I mean, why are you
That makes it sound like they do it to every movie. It's like, what can we fix in every movie?
No, they just take
like
take movies with
everything
flaws.
wrong.
Exactly. That's why.
No, they take like little things and just tweak them, and they're like, this idea is more interesting than what was actually in there. Yeah, and there were some really good points made.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to steal those points for our podcast and for our own material.
Oh yeah.
Hindsight is always 20/20 though. Like
I think all of
say,
that
they
stuff,
could have done that better.
All of those videos that are like those shitty ones that are like, what is it called? Like movie sins or whatever.
Yeah, cinema sins. Yeah.
It's all like, you just spent so much time shitting on this thing that somebody else made.
Yeah.
You could have spent that much time and energy making your own OP. You know what I'm saying? Like, you fucking.
I know that cinema sins is all.
It's that hater mentality. Like,
it's
so rampant on YouTube.
It's so easy to sound intelligent by telling people why they're doing wrong. Like something.
Yeah.
When it comes like with anything, like movies, food, drinks,
anything.
like any. You could be talking about like paint color, and you could explain
like
why
green,
like this is
stupid
and a bad choice.
Unless we're talking about
and sound more intelligent, but like
if you like Comic Sans, you can suck it.
Contribute.
But honestly,
I would say to anyone
what I like to not be too negative here is about movies, because I think it's more interesting. It's more challenging to try to come up with what is good and maybe a bad movie.
It's way easier to shit on things.
Yeah. You could shit on the best movie ever made. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. It's not like a movie can be so good you can't shit on it. Everyone can find fault.
It's harder to find good in anything.
Yeah.
It is.
In this society, I don't know, maybe because I'm
a reflection of just
nihilist.
Well, no, I mean, there's a cultural attitude of like no one really highlights the good things. Like most people sort of either celebrate how bad something is, and then they pretend that that's why it's good, or they if something is good and actually a lot of people like it, they will try their hardest.
It's hard to be genuine. It's hard to have genuine feelings and like hard to be like vulnerable. So admitting you like something is like kind of being vulnerable. Like
it's admitting weakness.
And especially the level that we talk about things, like about how things made us feel. Like that's especially, unfortunately, just the way it is as dudes, especially like it's not like the accepted behavior.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not really what I'm talking about.
No, we've talked about this before, and I've stayed.
But I feel like
I try to stay true to like.
That's why more men commit suicide.
Is it true? I guess that makes sense. God. That's probably not a fact, but that probably is a fact.
Well, no, that has to be a fact. Everyone I know who has done that is a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, statistically, there's like a staggering difference. I don't know the numbers.
Between
also, like men and women.
Yeah. And it's not to say that women don't.
Especially like later in life when people get divorces or like a spouse might pass away.
Yeah.
That like men have less of a safety.
Very few female serial killers too.
True.
Yeah.
Like zero. Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, I think that's probably to do with like testosterone.
Oh, absolutely.
Angry, just that
rage,
that chemical in your brain. Period.
Yeah.
Fucking like take one thing and send it over the edge.
Anyway, another club for movies.
Another thing I loved about this movie was
we're all having a really good day today. Let's
hey man,
let's bring it down a notch.
No, we like talking about the serious.
Yeah, let's keep it real.
We take the rough with the smooth here. But,
hey, you take the good with the bad, and there you have the facts of life.
There you have. The thing I got really worried about when I was watching this movie was when they finally go back to the house and they're talking about going back into the guest house.
Oh, you guys.
They're like setting up rules, and they set up like 2 rules, and and they don't account for like the fact that this is crazy.
Yeah.
They set up rules that like. You would set up for like a swingers, but not
But
like
with yourself.
But with yourself. I was like the rules did not cover the fact that the lookalikes might become smarter or claim to be the real spouse. Which I knew that was going to be a problem. I was like, at some point, one of the people who are pretending to be the real people, they're going to get out of that house, and it's going to cause a crazy amount of shit. But I didn't think that they'd both come out at the same time and reveal, oh yeah, sit down, we're going to have a talk. I thought one of them was going to escape and try and be like real Ethan or real Sophie and cause a huge problem.
And honestly, I
kind of did that at the end, but like, not really.
But here, the thing about the end, though, I think the idea about the end is that, like, no matter what, these people are still people, and they're still flawed, and you're gonna fucking get tired of that person too. You're gonna have problems with that person. Yeah, you know, that's just the way it goes. And there is no fixing it. There's like, I mean, maybe there's.
Well, there's a good
it.
line. There's a good line at the end. What was it? The real, like the one that you said, the man who has nothing. What was the line again?
Oh, from the poker game?
Yeah, the poker game. You thought
the guy who has nothing and he knows it.
Yeah. That, to you, summed up the movie. Like, the one...
Well, at that moment.
At that moment, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not the movie, but it summed up Ethan.
For
You're
sure,
right. Yeah, you said summed up Ethan. The one I thought summed up the movie, or, like, the point of the movie, is when he's talking to Sophie in front of Nega Sophie and Nega Ethan, trying to get her to, like, be his wife again, basically. He says, I don't want to be perfect, I want to be us.
Right.
It was a good, like...
That's great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
because both versions of themselves are perfect. Like, the Nega Sophie is, like, perfect in a way, but, like...
Well, there is no perfect.
Well, to them, it's like their idealized version. It's
right, but I'm saying, like, you can idealize something no matter how much you want, and then you have to live with it, and then it's like, and then it becomes a real person. You know what I mean? Like, it's
just how they...
Perfection's all in the flaws, man.
Yeah,
it's all
man.
The little cracks in the facade.
Perfection's all in the flaws.
Yeah. That's what... I'd take pictures of cracks in the sidewalk.
Yeah, man. That's like the old paintings, man.
Instagram,
they got the cracks, man.
Instagram tag.
I just realized.
Instagram tag perfection. On that note, I'm gonna go take a poop.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Hey!
Don't do that voice.
Welcome
you better edit that out of all the things. We just lost all of our listeners just now, just with those sounds.
What is this crazy thing we're doing?
I'll just wait until you guys get tired. Do you really think they want to hear this? Do you really think they want to hear this? Jesus.
Yes, they do.
You're just talking to me about fucking up the end. That was terrible. That was
just comedy.
Unlistenable. God damn it. I'm surprised you went from criticizing me to doing that. Jesus.
You know, it's really easy to sound intelligent while you're criticizing.
Yeah, it's really true. You wouldn't know comedy if it hit you in the fucking mouth.
I'll just wait until you guys listen to this back.
Whoa, that's a good one. Real good. What a retort.
So, the one I love, I don't know where I was when I
fell in love.
I got like real hooked on this movie. It is. You give me a real angry look.
What? Go. I'm just so surprised.
Did you guys notice that weed in the bag didn't really look like weed?
It looked like black.
Is that like future weed?
Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not.
Well, this wasn't in the future. And how was this a sci-fi?
It was sort of.
I think it's fantasy, and it's sci-fi.
There's got to be a different word for like.
It's like
one
very subtle.
One thing being like a little off in the movie.
I mean, that's what science fiction is, really. I mean, usually there's a lot of things, but there can only be like one.
Yeah, I mean,
one thing that's different than like our modern day culture.
This is a lot of things that fiction. People.
But in this universe, that was
to,
just like they didn't even know what was. It was I don't know like.
A lot of people that I saw a lot of reviews and people were comparing it to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Yes, it was Twilight Zone.
Well,
they say that in the
Twilight
movie
Zone is fucking. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Twilight Zone is fucking. Sci-fi.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
and
right.
This could have been a Twilight Zone episode. That means it's sci-fi.
You're right.
I do kind of wish that sci-fi was not tagged, like, it was not a tag and a descriptor for this film. It would have been great to just start it out and think it was going to be a
I wish I wouldn't have even
drama.
said anything about that. But if you guys would have looked it up at all, you would have known. But
when you said it was a sci-fi, I was like, maybe it's just in like a weird future, like a future-y future.
Yeah.
Like a Jetsons future. I thought that's kind of what it was going for. But then when the thing hit, I was like, oh, okay, so it's not like, it didn't hit me as a sci-fi.
Good.
Like, even though you telling me
it,
I still thought of it as
a sci-fi. That's because that's what when we first saw it, it was like, I did not expect it to be any kind of twist. I thought it was going to be like, a romantic comedy.
Yeah, I really
It's
actually...
like a straight romantic comedy that was like dark or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's completely...
Because honestly, the story about the couple going on a retreat and trying to rebuild their marriage could be interesting on its own.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good.
I thought it was... I like Mark
like,
Duplass, and he's usually in stuff
yeah,
like these kinds of movies.
Elizabeth Moss a lot, too. I think she's always done a good job.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen.
So
Elizabeth Moss is awesome.
But anyway...
Elizabeth Moss.
This is a good movie. I really like this movie. That's what I feel like I'm turning into right now.
Oh, you go.
No, you go.
You go.
No. You go.
I wrote, I don't even know what this was in reference to. One of my notes is I'm really good at ruining romantic moments, too.
Oh,
I am.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I just don't.
If only they could have seen your face.
Just genuine.
Yeah,
Genuine
it was.
face.
What was it? Was it possibly when like Elizabeth Moss came back, and Ethan was just on the couch, and that's when they didn't realize that there were two versions of each other?
Yeah, I think that might have been it. That was early on. Mm-hmm. And also, if I were Ethan, I would have lost my shit and probably killed the robots.
That was another one of my notes.
I don't think I could psychologically handle someone that looks exactly like me.
Doing
trying
what
to impersonate me and steal my wife. I think.
Yeah,
I don't think there would
This is a solution that should have happened.
Ethically speaking, would you be wrong in murdering them?
No, because then the cops would come and be like, "What the fuck happened here?"
Yeah, well,
what if they turned into their old self and it was like, you know,
it depends on what they are, because we don't know. If they're
nothing
humans that are being like transformed into other humans and are still human, but if they're like an android or like some kind of spirit thing, then whatever.
I wrote
or a computer program.
I put down, I would have battled myself and killed myself in order to have two wives. How else would
identical wives, but they would not be down with it, and they would eventually plot to kill you.
Oh, Jesus,
because you were just like
in like some tricky way,
them, basically. Right. I would, as soon as I saw,
I'd kill them both.
I would love to have 3 wives.
Oh yeah, no, I would love to have 4,
like Neapolitan ice cream. You know what I mean? 3
like a redhead,
3 flavors all in one,
and like a blonde and like a brunette.
Oh yeah,
no, it would have to be a white-haired girl.
Disgusting. Yeah, an old lady.
It has to be an old lady,
an old woman.
A vanilla old woman.
Yum.
A vanilla bean.
Well,
this is.
I'll call her Beanie.
Beanie.
I forget where I heard this, but someone, I think it was in Always Sunny, I think Charlie referred to old women as the dignified classics.
Oh.
Because
I like that.
Because he was, I think in the episode he was like dating one or something, I forget.
I don't know.
It was really funny.
Dignified. Like Turner movie classics.
Mm-hmm.
The dignified classics.
The moment when Ethan sneaks into the house as his real wife is going into the guest house, and they have sex together, right? Mm-hmm. Was that the only time that Elizabeth Moss had sex, or was it implied that she was doing that every time?
No, yeah, she
already did it at least once.
Remember the
you're right.
First
the first night, you're right.
And I think there's another scene where you can assume they had sex.
After the tic-tac-toe scene.
I think anytime she goes there, she's fucking him.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the idea.
I just want to make sure.
But honestly, I think that's why they are supposed to exist
wasn't.
there, is to... Like, but what's happened to all those previous...
The end game, this is my interpretation. One of the nega versions that is supposed to be like the one spouse's ideal version of the other spouse will take the place.
Right.
And those 2 will move out because they said only 2 people can leave. And then the 2 remaining transform into the versions.
Right. Okay, yeah, I guess we already
there, you can actually guess that one of these individuals that's changed could have been there for, changed a dozen times. Maybe they're just desperate to leave.
There was an explanation.
In addition to that, they could have been the very first one that... Well, that's not true. This changed a bunch of times.
It changes hands.
Yeah.
That's what's implied.
Yeah, but if they're the one that is always staying, you know what I mean? They could...
Well, no, I don't think that's it, though. I think that Nega Sophie explains to Ethan how it works that in that scene. She says that we're supposed to pit you against each other, but you're also supposed to take our place. And we leave. But, like, she was like, he's not supposed to fall in love with her.
Right.
She has that line, and that sort of screws everything up. They're supposed to leave as couples.
That's true.
The nega ones are supposed to both leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the people who are trying to fix the relationship stay there.
Okay, right.
And fix it out. And then they plan to...
Right.
As a pair, they plan to get the next couple to stay.
Right, so, but he just, like, threw a wrench.
But he threw a wrench by actually falling in love with the next girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
cool.
there's some other really good, like, low-budget sci-fi, like Safety Not Guaranteed with Aubrey Plaza. And
That
Duplass.
was why I thought this movie was going to suck.
Who was the
I
lead
thought it
in
was
that?
pretty good.
Who was the guy in that?
It was fucking this guy.
Mark Duplass?
Yeah.
Mark Duplass.
Yeah, I've seen that. I remember it was fine, yeah.
It was...
I saw a movie that's kind of similar. I actually didn't like it because... Not that I don't want everything tied up at the end with a nice bow on it, but... So this was a German movie called The Wall. Mm-hmm. And there was... it's about a woman that goes to a cabin in, like, the wilderness. And one day she tries to leave, and she finds there's an invisible, impenetrable wall around the wilderness. She can even see birds are, like, flying into it. Uh-huh. Like, so she's stuck there for years with a dog at this cabin and has to, like, learn to live off the land.
Jesus.
And then in the end, I'm going to ruin the whole movie.
Yeah, go for
it.
She actually finds a man who looks like he's been there just as long as her, and he kills her dog. She ends up killing him after getting, like, horribly injured. And then you never find out what happened. You never find out where the wall came from.
Wow.
That sounds terrible.
It's based on, like, a classic German sci-fi novel, and they made a movie out of it, and man, was it disappointing.
Did they find did she find there was another guy there at the very end of the movie or something?
Yeah, it was sort of like the area,
that sounds awful.
like a wilderness was large enough that, like, another person could have lived there in secret. But this guy didn't have a cabin like she did. He probably was, like, living in the woods and...
Yeah.
One of the most frustrating and frustrating movies, but also frustrating sci-fi movies is this fucking... Have you seen Primer?
I love Primer. I was going to bring that up.
Oh my god, dude. I couldn't even... Have you seen it, Andrew?
I don't think
It's
so.
about
Netflix.
time travel. Try to watch it. It's so
It's only an hour and 20 minutes long,
But
right?
it's like the most confusing thing I've ever looked at in my life.
There's actually charts online where people have charted out all the different timelines.
It's crazy. It's like I like movies that are kind of like mindfucky and like twisty time shit, but like there's no... You have to study it. You have to watch it like 4 times.
Yeah.
I hate
but
that.
In a similar vein, I think they accomplish a lot with a low budget. There's only really like 2 actors the whole movie.
I'm angry because
it's about
it made me feel stupid. Like, it's a good movie, but it makes me feel stupid, and I don't like that.
Yeah, it's like these guys accidentally discover time travel.
Uh-huh.
But there's some very limiting restraints on it. And it's told from a very scientific perspective almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's worth you should watch it.
That's the one thing about time travel movies that
there's usually some holes.
Well, there's holes, but it's because like of this fact that they always have to explain the rules in the movie. They can't just assume the audience knows the rules because...
Well, this is set up where one guy knows and he explains it to the other guy, kind of, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's a plot device where it's also to the audience in turn. But, like, there's time travel movies where if you go back in time and you fuck with shit, then it changes everything in the future.
Then it takes you out of pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Or there's time travel movies where you go back in time and there is no change. It's just, you're just so happen to be there.
Which is not time travel, more as, like... you travel into a different plane of existence, a parallel dimension, probably.
Well, there's that too.
It's an argument that is like all fucking who knows the answer.
This is what I mean. Like, there's different like movies that do it differently every time. So when there's a new movie, they can't just assume, oh, these are the time travel rules. Everyone knows them. There's always a new fucking either twist.
Because there are no rules to time travel because it's like just a concept.
It's a concept, so...
It's probably...
And movies do it differently every time, so that's the one crutch
you know,
that time travel
if you really want to watch a real, true to science time travel movie...
Doctor Who.
Well, first of all, Doctor Who.
Fucking X-Men Apocalypse that just came out.
You guys ruined my joke.
No, wait, start again.
If you guys want to... Seriously now. Seriously, if you want to see a true to science time travel movie, it's all about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's not a good joke anymore because you guys gave better, more up-to-date references.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Doctor Who is pretty... I mean, that's all based in real factual science.
Yeah.
Just all the Time Lords are dead.
That's true.
Speaking of,
you just go to Gallifrey and then refight the battle, and then it didn't actually ever happen.
Speaking of
Gallifrey, more like fuck yourself.
Oh! More like, oh, never mind.
Did either of you guys see X-Men Apocalypse?
No. I haven't seen Days of Future Past.
I suggest that you definitely watch that movie. I also suggest you don't watch Apocalypse. It's one of the worst movies I've seen this year.
Yeah, I liked First Class. And,
First Class was amazing.
I want to see Days of
Future Past is one of those examples of a better sequel.
Wasn't there another one since
this one?
Oh, it's this
Apocalypse. Yeah,
I thought there was one more.
And there's even a moment in the movie where they make like a haha break the fourth wall reference, where it's like the X-Men like kids like who are at the school, they go to the mall and see the third Star Wars film. And they're coming out of it, and they're like, they're talking about it. They're like, I like the second one better. And then they're like, yeah, we can all agree that the third one's probably the worst, right? And then they walk off screen. It's supposed to be like a nod. Haha, this movie's terrible.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, how?
What?
They do that.
Why?
They talk about like, oh yeah, the first one was pretty good, and the second one was way better because they weren't afraid to end on a dark note. And then the third person's like, yeah, but we can all agree that the third one's the worst, right?
So they're talking about this movie?
They are talking about the movie they made.
That's awesome, kind of, though.
It's not enough to redeem.
I might like it. I might love it. I might love it, though, because I like some shitty things.
It's just a brief moment, though. The rest of the movie is not as satisfying.
Yeah, I have a problem with some of those Fox, or I guess they're Fox, X-Men shit, like, yeah.
I think the reason I brought it up is because in, like, what we were just talking about time travel and how they have to explain shit in time travel movies. This movie, they spent so much time... Like, actually, 3/4 of the movie explaining origin stories.
Oh, ew.
Again. Like,
because there's so many
every
new
X-Men
characters,
movie. Exactly.
like Psylocke in it, and Apocalypse.
They do it every time, explaining where a character came from and then never paying it off because they don't have time.
That's one of the reasons why Deadpool, reason number 836 why Deadpool was so good. Is like, here are these characters.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't know who Colossus is? Too fucking bad.
Exactly.
Hey, you definitely don't know who fucking Teenage fucking Warhead, whatever fuck her name is, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't know who any of these characters are. You don't know who fucking...
Teenage Sour Candy.
Yeah. Sour Patch Kid. First she's sour.
I wish that was her name. That would have been awesome.
Even Deadpool. Like, you're like, hey, I'm Deadpool. And then they're like, yeah, some shit happened. And you don't even find his origin out until, like, throughout the...
It was a good telling because more interesting things happen.
The way they did his origin story is the way they should do every fucking origin story. Like, hey, for the people that know who the character is, you get to enjoy the movie.
I also...
For the people who don't, you get filled in later on.
I think we need a break from the superhero movies.
It's not going to stop.
Oh, it's not going to stop.
It's the snake eating its tail at this point.
It is.
It's just going to start shitting itself out.
Yeah.
Which it's already starting.
Yeah.
Arguably, some people would argue with Batman versus Superman. I think that is staying
we don't need
true
to talk
comics.
About Batman.
Yeah, we've already covered
Superman
it.
We've covered it.
And obviously, it's peaking in some places, like with Deadpool.
With Marvel, it's peaking.
But I think that the whole rated R superhero movie thing is gonna blow it out.
Yeah,
it's gonna blow it out. We're gonna be seeing American Pie. Versions of
you're fucking right about that. We are gonna see American Pie versions.
It's gonna be Farty McShithead versus the X-Men.
Well,
and Adam Sandler starring in fucking X-Force.
Well, he's already done
as Cyclops.
He already did a superhero movie.
Adam Sandler?
He did what was it? Pixels, kind of like a superhero movie.
Oh, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Remember the Zohan.
Yeah, exactly. That one too. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking hell. I know that
they're gonna get blown out.
Like I used to think that the superhero thing was bad, but then Marvel found a way to make it like it's like a very specific thing. Yeah. A very quantified sort of movie making experience.
It's because people that are passionate about comics are making those things. Mm-hmm. And
exactly.
People that are passionate about cash money are making the fucking X-Men movies.
Yeah.
That's not Marvel Studios,
Even though Marvel is making a shitload of money.
And Warner Brothers is fucking some
It started off very it was a good plan from the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Have you guys heard about the Ant-Man movie that was never made?
Yes.
With Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright worked on a script for an Ant-Man film that he'd been working on for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And then Marvel came up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they forced him to make so many edits, he backed out of the project.
Right.
And... I mean, although Ant-Man was fine...
I was about to say, but that movie was actually still really good.
I think it was pretty good. I haven't seen it. But I think the Edgar Wright version... That's the thing.
Have you read the Edgar Wright version?
No, I don't know if it's... I just think Edgar Wright would have had a more unique outlook
Scott Pilgrim, dude.
That's the thing.
Yes,
all
I
these
get that,
comic book movies are almost the same. They're all very similar. They're almost all about, like... the end of the world, and I want to see stuff. That is the one thing I do. That is the one thing I do hate about superhero movies. Is the stakes is always about the end of the world and large amounts of property damage, and it always gets old.
But read a comic book, and that's pretty much what's going on though.
I get it.
Except for like the day-to-day stuff, but that doesn't make an interesting movie.
There are ways.
That's why there's things like Daredevil and
and that really bad Jessica
and the Cape.
Jessica the Cape.
Just kidding.
The fuck is that?
You haven't heard of The Cape?
No.
You watch Community. They reference it all the time.
The Cape.
The Cape.
I don't know.
It's like the Arrow or Arrow or whatever. The Cape is about a superhero whose ability is his cape, and he uses it to beat up people.
That's a Community thing?
They reference it. It's not like they created it. It was a show that got canceled like immediately, pretty much.
That seems a little familiar. Yeah.
6 seasons in a movie.
Right. Okay.
You don't remember that line? Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, but that's from.
It's about the Cape.
Oh.
He goes knocks. Abed goes into the cafeteria, knocks Joel's food off of his fucking table with his cape, and then runs away. And then Joel is like, "That movie's not even gonna make it past season 1," which was so weird because when that episode came out, it was airing, and Abed turns around, he's like, 6 seasons in a movie, and then runs away.
Okay, interesting.
What happened in the next episode?
Yeah. This is
I never watched
for Community.
I never watched The Cape. We were talking about Community.
But I couldn't think of another good superhero show, actually. Oh, I started watching The Flash. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I heard Arrow can be fine, but
Arrow sucks, in my opinion.
I haven't.
Oh, Gotham. Fucking Gotham.
Gotham.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
Well, those are original ideas. They're doing original things with it. You know, that's why.
True. All right, we're kind of fucking going way
wow.
Wow. There.
All right.
Wait, last second.
Let's give our ratings. So
you're right.
Drew's all around? 3D?
I think Drew's all around, man.
Drew's all around.
We got we're throwing down
3D.
A hand of 3 Drews ace high. That's what we're doing.
Wow.
3 Drews ace high. I have the cards right here. I have the full hand.
What does that have to do? That's not...
Got the cards right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's time for the quiz.
All right, I won last week, although Drew spelled it out.
You didn't really win.
That's still going to be marked down because you didn't get it.
Yep.
I think I actually did say it at some point. I was saying so many different versions of
I heard
love and I.
Well, it would be a shame. I mean, it'd be cool if we could go back and listen to it. But anyways, it's a quiz.
Lost forever.
Where's your fucking quiz that you just made?
Right
up?
there.
All right, good.
It's right there.
This is actually related to this movie because it's another film with a very limited cast.
Okay.
It's written by the 2 stars of the film. Came out in 1981.
Good Will Hunting?
No.
Damn it.
1981.
It's a movie I believe I've mentioned before. Something I've wanted to see for a long time. And it stars one of the actors from A Princess Bride.
A Princess Bride or The Princess Bride?
The Princess Bride.
A Princess Bride.
At one point, Roger Ebert was asked, can you name a film that doesn't contain any cliches? And his answer was this film.
Interesting. Then I don't know if I've seen it then because...
I don't think anybody's seen it.
Oh.
Honestly.
Really?
Yeah, but you would have heard of it.
1981?
Is that all your clues?
Yeah.
Can you see who the leads are?
Wallace Shawn.
Don't know who that
is one of them.
Wallace Shawn.
Yep.
I've never.
Oh well, why didn't you say that to begin with? Fucking Wallace Shawn.
Am I looking at it right now?
No, don't worry.
Good. All right. I thought I accidentally saw it.
Limited cast.
There's 3 people credited in the film, but really, it's 2 guys and the other guy is their waiter. He's not really.
It's fucking.
I don't know.
Dinner with Andre or whatever the fuck it's called. Dinner with.
Oh, is it Dinner with Andre?
It's My Dinner with Andre.
Yeah.
Andre the Giant. Or
No.
So
that's I got.
That's the character from
Yeah.
Princess Bride.
Speaking of Community,
what?
there's a fucking episode where Abed tries to recreate
My Dinner with
fucking
Andre.
My Dinner with Andre.
Ah.
With is that the mildly interested guy character you're doing now? Yeah. Wow. Look at that. This is a Community cast.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was underwhelming because I just got it. Nobody even made a sound, but it's cool.
Woo! Yeah, he got a quiz.
I just want to be liked. You know?
I guess I have heard of that title, but it took.
Interesting. Cool. This is a movie that's.
It was not in my.
man.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's an hour and 50 minutes.
50?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Hour 50.
Yeah.
I thought you said an hour 15.
So go
I was
home,
almost
watch
really
it.
happy. Yeah.
It's got-
go home.
I
I'll
mean-
stay here.
Is it a romantic comedy?
Nope. It is a comedy though. So to a degree.
Who's the other person in this movie?
I didn't want to say his name because the actor is Andre Gregory and he plays Andre Gregory.
Oh.
Okay.
These two guys sort of play themselves, like a version of themselves.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Have you guys seen? It sounds related to this, and I think it might be a little inspired by it. Have The Trip? With Steve Coogan.
Steve Coogan. I haven't watched that yet. Was it good?
Yes. There's a second one. There's A Trip to Italy. It's like a mockumentary style movie, and it's Steve Coogan as Steve Coogan, and the other comedian, I can't remember his name, as himself. Like they're friends in real life. But Steve Coogan playing like a fucking cartoon version of himself, like super asshole, like great Steve Coogan shit.
Yeah.
And they just go. The idea is that they're going on a trip. That Steve Coogan is supposed to go on this trip and do this tour of these restaurants.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be with his girlfriend, and then they broke up. But then he takes his comedian friend with him, and it's just he's miserable the whole time. The other guy's having a great time, but they're just riffing the whole time.
This sounds great, actually.
It's just them like riffing, dude. It's fucking
great.
so funny.
That sounds great.
The Trip, hair plug.
Hair
Yeah.
plug.
Oh shit! Why couldn't that have been the pick?
Honestly, I just spoiled it because it's on my
because
my
I want
list.
to challenge you.
You want to challenge me?
Yeah, this is a good challenging.
Is this a
movie.
challenge? Is this going to be a bad movie?
No,
Is this going to be a bad movie?
It's supposed to be one of the.
Is this going to be a bad movie?
It's supposed to be one of the greatest movies, but it seems challenging. Like, it's two people talking, so it sounds like a Kevin Smith movie.
Is this a foreign film?
No.
You don't know reading?
Is it a scary movie?
There's two. It's a conversation, but there's no words the whole time.
It's weird.
So.
It's all sign language.
Is this a silent film?
All right.
It's the Hairclub for movies.
Is it Italian?
Hairclub for Andre.
Is it a challenge?
The dinner, 'cause it's Hairclub for movies.
See you next week. Follow us on Twitter, iTunes.
I'm still mad at you.
Wherever your podcasts are sold.
Support your local library.
Yes, support local library.
Yeah. Bye.
Whoa, mama.
Whoa, mama.